Human design is the wisdom behind what makes you, you, what makes you unique, and what are the gifts and the purpose that you promise you would give to the world. This video that I'm going to share with you now is from my baby. My baby is the Human Design Method reader training, where I teach you everything you need to know about becoming a human design reader and even just reading a human design chart so you can know how your design reads. You can read for your family, you can read for your loved ones, you could read for your children. Imagine living in a household and a family where you all knew each other's designs. You all knew how each other worked, so that we can grow as a society to understand each other more and not try and pin each other in the same box. You are here to live in your own box, live in your own frame, live in your own destiny, and this is the wisdom that gets to show you how you get to do that. Now, that is the kind of world I want to live in, and that is exactly why I'm sharing this piece of my course with you today, because I want you to understand what this wisdom even is. It doesn't need to be this crazy, eccentric knowledge that's unreachable for so many of us. I am here to simplify without missing out any of the detail. So keep watching this video to find out what human design even is, where it comes from, and the wisdom behind who your soul came here to be. The Human Design Method. I am truly so grateful that you are all here. The science of our aura. It's the science of how we're different. And this really shows you how that is. So I wanted to do all the backstory for you so that you had that as well. And it enables you to understand it deeper and really get into that. So Human Design was downloaded by a guy who was formerly called Robert. He was from Canada, and then he went on a trip to Ibiza in 1987, and he came back known as Ra-U Rahu. He downloaded from what he calls the voice. He had this 8-day and night experience where he downloaded all of this information, and it was amazing because he was on the island of Ibiza. He went away on this whole trip. So the voice put together 4 different wisdoms which created the rave mandala. So what you would see when you see a human design chart, when you've looked up your chart, you would see the body graph, which is the middle bit. And the rave, which I'm going to show you on here, the rave is the bit that encompasses the whole thing. It's the thing that understands why you are your profile line. It's the thing that tells you why you have certain lines and you have certain gates. There's the whole structure that he downloaded and shared with Ra in this whole experience. So the voice told Ra how this evolution of us being 7-centered beings to then becoming 9-centered beings. This all started in 1781, which is wild because we think human design is so new. But this whole evolution started in 1781 when they found the planet Uranus. And that was all because before that time, we had a shorter time span, we had a shorter lifespan, and we weren't going to be around so much as long because the structure of the planets where Uranus was discovered, it meant that we actually got longer on Earth, which is like, it really is the destiny is up in the stars. But anyway, so we are moving into a new paradigm, which I'm sure you are all feeling, I'm sure you are all experiencing already. And all of this paradigm, it's less about survival, it's less about the mind, and it's more about awareness. It's more about our soul's evolution, our souls and our spirit within, and that is awareness, that is pure consciousness. And there is also going to be new evolutions and new human design types in 2027. So Ra said that the voice told him that in 2027 was going to be, we're at New Earth now. So that's why even now, all of these shifts are meant to happen. All of this unvolving and breaking down of so much is meant to happen so that the next evolution can happen. And he says that's going to happen in 2027. So the new found of neutrinos, which has been, so Ra downloaded this in 1987 and it hadn't been proven by science yet. It was only proven by science in the late 1990s. So Ra had this kind of backing of the later discovered science, and neutrinos were atoms carrying information. Now, for me, this was the biggest, like, oh my God, human design isn't just fluff, it actually makes sense. And what that is we as a universe, as a collective, are 99.99999% space. Right? And all of the atoms are just space. All of us, within us, is space. Where these neutrinos, which are sent off by all these different planets coming from the universe, coming down onto Earth at the moment that we are born, carry mass, which mean they carry information. So this is the information carried to explain who we are and going deeper into all of that. When the universe, the Big Bang happened, it was said that the voice said to Ra that the Big Bang was actually the conception of the universe. It wasn't necessarily like the end of the universe. That's it. This is all of it there. And what happened, there was a yin and a yang crystalline egg. Now, crystalline meaning in a kind of not the literal crystal, more of like a substance. And what happened was that exploded into the universe with all these crystals of consciousness, right? So when the Big Bang happened, all these crystals of consciousness spread out into the universe. Now, when you, and I don't know how many of you have looked at your chart fully, but you have the chart and then you have the two sides, which have the planetary symbols, they have the number of your gates either side, and you have the personality and you have the design. Now, when you are reading a chart for someone, you will see that the personality is the conscious. So that is what people are going to be aware that they do, aware that they have, aware of the skills within them. And then the design is the unconscious. And the design comes into your system 3 months before you are born. This is your crystals of consciousness. So you have the personality crystal, which is on the right side of the chart, right? And that's in your head center. We're going to get into all the centers as well. So you can start familiarizing yourself when I say the names, but we'll get into all of that. So don't worry if you're not sure where that is. The head center is the top one here. Then you have the design crystal, which is right in the ajna, which is underneath the head center. And then you have something called a magnetic monopole, which is right in your G center, which in your G center, again, we will get into all of this, but your G center is right in the center of you, right in your heart space. And it is the sense of self. It is the direction of life. Okay. So within that is your magnetic monopole, something called a magnetic monopole, which is particles that carry magnetic attraction, right? So we have spiritually these crystals within us, and we're going to put them into the analogy of a car because it's always so easy. So our true role here. Okay, so the design crystal, which is the one that soul chose that lifetime, it chose that parents, it chose that baby 3 months before it was born, is the vehicle. Okay, so the design crystal is the vehicle, that is the car. Then you have the personality crystal, which is the other side, which is all the known conscious skills and gifts that soul has, is the passenger, right? In the car is the passenger in the back seat. Then you have the magnetic monopole, which is the crystal, which is the sense of self, is the driver. I literally have full goosebumps right now, but because I get so into this, but that's the driver. So, you know, when we say things like destiny, our soul knows the way, it's just meant to be like, I'm leaning towards that. It's because we have this sense of magnetic energy leading the way. We have a soul inner knowing. And that inner knowing as well, that intuition, that knowing within. This is the science behind it. This is the actual crystal that we have within us that is leading our way. So our role here in this lifetime is to be the passenger, is to be that backseat, is to be all of our personality, that we all here get to be the passenger. And that's why there's a structure in human design that has, okay, here is your intuition. Here is how you exchange with the universe. But you aren't taking the wheel. You're not the one driving.
you're the one in the back seat that gets to look at the view. You get to go past and go like, oh my God, look over there. Oh, wow, isn't that amazing? And not focus on the driving. Then you have the evolution of mankind, which is where I was speaking about us going from 7-centered beings to 9-centered beings. And so through evolution, right, we were very, very connected with nature. This is when we couldn't speak, we didn't have language, and we lived through our splenic survival instinct. So the spleen is all about how do we survive? Where is my next meal coming from? Where are my family coming from? Who am I mating with, right? That was where one of our many, many times ago, one of our evolutions. Then this developed into the larynx, which is within our throat, to be created, which meant more advances in our brain, in our neocortex, in our visual cortex, and the use of communication meant that we then form language. So all of these little steps meant that we then had language. We could then speak and communicate, which meant that all these different communications were formed. Then we moved into mental awareness because effectively our brain got bigger because of this, and we began to express our voice, our insights, what we thought about things. And this meant that humans became more developed than other species. We were very much within the animals at that time, but then we became more than that because we had this bigger experience of our mind. And it meant that we created villages, we created things where we had systems, where we had structure, where we had gods, kings and queens. All of that creation became formed. So as a species, we were still then conditioned, even though we had this mental awareness, we were still then conditioned to look for an outer authority, to look to the gods, the kings, the queens, the priests, the priestesses, to give us our ultimate authority, to give us our decision. I'm going to say authority a lot. Authority in human design language means your intuition. It means your decision maker, right? So now we're at the next stage of the cycle when we discovered Uranus. And that means that we are evolving away from mental authority and into awareness, into this spiritual soul awareness, which we are all witnessing. And human design is the system that bridges the gap between mental domination and body and awareness consciousness. So the human design is all about us moving from being 7-centered beings, where we're all about the mind, into a more soul-led, spiritual, intuition-led system. And it's the support of that evolution. Okay, so first of all, you have astrology, which you can see in the ring. It's the first ring, which is where all the planets are at the time of that person's birth, which determines different factors of that person, of that soul. Then you have the Chinese I Ching wheel, which is all of these hexagrams running, they're like black lines all on the outside. They are all the things that determine someone's personality. So I know most of you have had a reading or you know about your numbers. So this is all whatever numbers you are. So I'm a 4-6. So this is all about how you get that. The Kabbalah tree of life is all about the gates and the channels, and all of those gates carry gifts, carry messages, and they are the things that connect our energy centers to each other. Then you have the chakra system, which is now 9-centered chakra system. So that's all about the energy centers, which obviously all of this we're going to go into bit by bit. So I'm just giving you the overview here, but that is all about how we carry our energy, why we are a certain design, a certain energy type, is all because of different energy centers that we have filled in.
So what do you think? Are you as obsessed with I am with this wisdom? Are you as obsessed as I am with just how incredibly unique you are? This video is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of this course. And if you're obsessed and if you want to know more about yourself, you want to know more about your destiny, and you want to be able to change the whole direction of your life by living in pure alignment with your soul desire, with your soul path. If you want to know more, If you are like, wow, this stuff has the ability to change the way I view life, I view my friends, my family, my loved one, my job, my passion, then look no further. Down below, I'm going to leave the link where you can get the rest of this course. This is just the beginning, just a little insight that I wanted to share with you so that you could understand. So if you want more, and if you're already feeling the urges inside of you, that excitement, that creativity of what you could go out there and do with this knowledge, then click the link below and you can sign up to my course. This course is a 6-week self-study pace where you can learn everything that you need to know to change your life, change your family's life, and change the direction of your destiny. It's just one click below, and I cannot wait for you to join me in there.